I've read some email remarks by you, sir, and I've also heard you make some statements today about Latinos and money, and specifically the affluent Latinos that we have in our community. In our capitalist society, one of the issues that we currently face is economy, and that we have an overabundance of poor Latinos. In pursuing the American dream, let me ask you, please explain your attitude toward Latinos making money and becoming millionaires in this country.
Well, when I refer to millionaires, I refer to millionaires who support individuals like Jaime Cortez, who told 5,000 vehicles from our community. That's who I refer to as a millionaire. Millionaires who are trying to buy elections simply because they have the advantage. I have no problems with millionaires being successful. As long as millionaires respect our community, they respect the programs that we want to initiate, that they listen to the needs of our community, not believe that they're omnipotent. I worked with many millionaires. I represented Juan Gabriel for 2 years. He's a multi-gillionaire. I didn't have any issues working with him, taking him to the Universal Amphitheater, taking him to Madison Square Garden, taking him on a national tour. I've worked with millionaires, corporations. As long as they respect our community, and as long as they listen to the concerns of our community, as long as they don't believe that they are bigger than our community, I have no issues with them. I've never had any issues with millionaires as long as they respect our community. And if they don't respect our community, then I don't respect them. Well, first of all, I would not give up comprehensive immigration reform. I would give up I would basically, on the issue of tax breaks, I would be willing to look at some of the tax breaks to the upper class. I would be willing to look at some of the issues of infrastructure money. I would not give up education. I think that that's very critical. But at the same time, I would not just be give and take. I would be working in other cities and other states to elect Democrats. I would be out there working to make sure that we level the playing field and that we can bring a balance. So if they deny me, I'm going to go out and work against somebody so he doesn't win in Congress, so that we get to the point of having at least a majority in Congress, a Democratic majority, so that our issues are listened to. And if they don't want to give us what we want, we're going to go out there and compete, get the Latino vote to defeat those Republicans that are working against our community, or Democrats who are working against our community.
To engage the parents with their local school districts in terms of helping the child perform better in schools. There's been a lot of programs in the district. I just retired after 22 years that failed. So seriously, how do you engage yourself in that?
Well, I think one of the critical programs is the expansion of ESL programs. You have a gap. For example, you have the monolingual parents. A lot of the parents are monolingual. A lot of the children are bilingual. If you go through elementary school, the parents still have a dominant control of their child. Once they get to middle school, that's when you begin to get that gap. The child begins to be technologically advanced. There's a difference. There's a new sphere of influence. There's new friends. The parent feels intimidated. They don't have the ESL programs. They don't have the education to be able to have the ability to control their children. We need to reach out to parents. We need to engage them in tutoring programs and ESL programs and in learned education programs. We need more parental involvement to get involved in the schools. We need to educate parents about the importance of education. Not only that, we have to provide educational information on healthy programs, nutritional programs, fight obesity. All those are factors that affect the learning of a child. It's not just reading a book. If you don't have breakfast in the classroom, a child is not going to learn. So we have to promote breakfast in the classroom, nutritional programs, and extend parental involvement.
I think there's a rule that says about someone who's associated with a campaign.
Does it say like?
Yeah, are you associated with a campaign or?
Well, yeah.
Well,
I guess.
Well, Richard Medrano was involved
Richard
in the
Zambrano
campaign,
is
and
with
he's supporting
Garcia,
Domingo
so I
Garcia.
would say we suspend the rules now because of an exception.
The rule was that it's staff members.
There's a
Staff
question,
members,
staff
okay, well then.
members.
Staff members.
Am I considered staff then?
No.
No?
You're not a considered
Okay,
staff,
thank you.
unless you're getting paid.
All right,
That's what
Steve.
I don't get paid for anything.
Thank you, Steve. With all due respect, you know that I have an affinity and a love for La Bajada neighborhood. My concern is that you speak about your experience and your experience and your experience, but we had a bad experience that you did not, Steve, bring a neighborhood stabilization overlay to save La Bajada neighborhood. Those people that you want to go to Congress and support, they're fighting right
Ask the
now
question,
for the
please.
neighborhood stabilization overlay. Why did you not protect that neighborhood so that they don't have to go out and fight? Because you were the fighter for them when you were in city council.
Okay, answer the question, please, sir.
Oh my God.
The NSP is something that I believe Raymond Salinas gave me that I signed. The issue is it needs to be brought by the community, and directly as a council person, you cannot be involved in it because it's a conflict of interest, a conflict law. Now, when we talk about protecting the neighborhood, in La Bajada specifically, you should look at the $30 million pump station that's being built there because we have had flooding in the past years. Flooding that was based on technology from the 1930 pump stations, the same ones that were used in New Orleans. That $30 million came in the bond program to help save La Bajada from further flooding, and it's being built right now. You can see it. The rebuilding of Singleton Boulevard was very important. That's very critical. The new bridge at Sylvian that's going to be built in the near future, that's very critical for development La Bajada. As far as protecting community, the main thing that I did was make sure that any development that's not in a commercial area goes to the south and not to the north.
But
where the
why did you
communities
not
are.
protect it as a
And
neighborhood?
It is being protected.
It's not a neighborhood stabilization overlay. It came after you left.
Exactly.
But why didn't you educate the people on that in their gas leases?
That's fine.
There's no gas that's gonna be drilled in La Bajada. I'll say that right now.
Okay,
There won't be no gas drilled in La Bajada. That's not the area.
Next
we're
question
looking
right
at.
here, please. Next.
I think that.
Who was the next, who did you, okay.
I'm opposed, right now what you have going on in West Dallas, and you have going on in Fort Worth, and I think that Kathleen Hicks can talk about, the move by gas companies to come into minority neighborhoods and do fracking and injection drilling. I'm opposed to any kind of drilling. I think that if you look at drilling and the impacts on the ecosystem, if you look at the impact of the waste of water, the potential chemical damage of the benzoin into the injection drilling, the fact that, for example, in Fort Worth, they just passed they had a moratorium, they continued it. Kathleen Hicks voted for the continuation of that moratorium. I think that she should be applauded for that. I think that we have to ask gas companies, some of these members I think may represent gas exploration companies, why they're targeting our community, why they're not educating our community, why they're basically acting like vultures. And I think that EPA has to be more aggressive, it has to protect our community, and city council members have to be very vigilant of the communities that they represent to make sure that gas exploration companies do not come into our neighborhood and basically decimate them with potential chemical damage.